We humans have the ability to do so much, yet we do so little. We allow our fears and ignorance to cloud our minds when we should allow our imagination and inquisitiveness to enlighten us. As so often before in human history, we find ourselves at a crossroads. Turn left or right, and we will find ourselves way behind our social evolutionary path and will be destined to repeat the plethora of mistakes made by our forefathers. A forward-thinking approach is needed. Traveling down the road of scientific innovation, development and discovery, utilizing all the imagination and inspiration that humans are endowed with, will help us to grasp our potential and nurture our brave new world. We humans can achieve anything. We have evolved so far in spite of our failings. It is, however, not just about science, technology and innovation, but also about our mindset. A mindset in with which we understand that we humans can do anything we choose to do for good or for evil. That we can improve the lot of the human being not just by small increments, but in leaps and bounds. If we think negatively, we will approach all tasks negatively. Set the bar high. Even if we do not reach it, we will be close to it. Evaluate the problems and set the bar high again and keep on striving for it. Never give up, never surrender. That is what evolution has taught us. How we perceive ourselves influences how we perceive others. If we perceive ourselves in a positive light, we will perceive others likewise. As a species, we are the sum total of those who have gone before. We seldom pay attention to history, and too often the precipice of disaster has been encountered, and we have crashed and are down in the ravine of ignorance. In a few short millennium, we have gone from hunter-gatherers living in fear of our environment to a sophisticated, intelligent species living in fear of each other. The vast number of scientific discoveries and innovations have not only changed the world in which we live in, but also changed us from an animal at the mercy of the world to one who can temper it and more profoundly change the very meaning of what it means to be human. We are today capable of curing so many diseases, as well as repairing our bodies and extending our lifespan. Our excess baggage is significant. Fear sits atop a long list. It is a catalyst for all of mankind's stupidities, irrationalities, and illogical superstitions. We humans are capable of this. And this. And this. Each generation seems intent on repeating the mistakes of past generations, as if they were somehow infallible to error. And yet, the errors are repeated over and over again, not just in a similar, if not in so obvious fashion, but almost carbon copy. And yet we are capable of this.
I'm going to step off the limb now. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Medical discoveries. We are an extremely well-evolved animal, top primate. We have the most advanced brain and believe ourselves to stand above all other animals on planet Earth. The death and destruction reaped upon mankind by one civilization after another throughout millennia lends support to the idea that the human race still has a long way to go before it can regard itself as truly civilized and an evolved species. We create art, music, great works of literature. We excel in the arena of sport. Yet firmly sitting on our shoulder is the spectre of religion and cultural backwardness, suppressing the desire for knowledge, education, and advancement. Yet with all the aforementioned, humans are plagued by the concept of capitalism, communism, socialism, and liberalism, sautéed in a liberal dose of globalization, which has been a tool, mechanism of the minority wealthy elite to enrich their coffers under the guise of cheaper consumer goods. For the wealthy elite, there are no such things as borders, nationalities, or passports. It is absurd to think that 10% of the world's population accounts for 85% of the world's wealth. Capitalism, with all its negatives, has been responsible for many innovations and discoveries that cannot be denied. One must ask the question, is the price paid for this, human morality, in the form of wars, famine, depressions, and recessions, worth it? Could such innovations have been achieved without capitalism? We will never know. We do, however, have the benefit of hindsight. There is a need to shift from total capitalism to something more organic. We still educate our children based on the needs of the Industrial Revolution and not the needs of the individual. Many may argue that education needs to address the needs of the workplace. Yet with an ever fast changing lifestyle and work needs, it is almost impossible to know what the needs of the workplace will be in 5 years' time, let alone in 10 or 20. With the increasing advancement of artificial intelligence, the number of jobs for humans will inevitably decrease over the next 20 years. It might be wise now to realign our educational system to serve the needs and talents of the individual. Our Star Trek moment is not just about technology, innovation, and discovery, but also, if not more importantly, about our mindset and what we want from our lives. How we perceive ourselves is key to know how we advance in our Star Trek moment. In our Star Trek Moment 1, all the benefits of science were highlighted. But if there is not an understanding of how humans think and reason, our Star Trek moment will pass mankind by, and we might find ourselves back in the ice age of science and thought. A very frightening thought indeed.